In the tumultuous year of 2020, Earth faced an invasion like no other. Thousands of aliens descended upon our planet with an oddly specific request. They wanted all the men. After months of relentless tracking, these extraterrestrials managed to abduct nearly every male human, leaving just one bewildered man to fend for himself in the United States. This last man, a ruggedly handsome figure, soon realized that he had a peculiar advantage against the alien invaders. You see, he had an insatiable love for oranges, and not just any love, but a deep, abiding affection for this citrus fruit that bordered on the absurd. He'd eat oranges for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even as midnight snacks. It turned out that the alien's sophisticated tracking technology couldn't quite handle the vitamin C overload that came with consuming copious amounts of oranges. It was like he was radiating an orange-scented force field. As word spread about the last man's survival strategy, he became an instant celebrity. Women from all walks of life were intrigued by this lone survivor, not just because of his good looks but also because of his unique knack for evading the alien invaders. Straight women, in particular, were keen to get to know him, and you can't blame them. After all, he was the last man on Earth, and that had to add a few points to his attractiveness score. So, what does a man do when he's the last of his kind and he's also quite the looker? Well, in this bizarre scenario, he realized he could leverage his newfound fame and sex appeal to create a rather unusual career path. He became a sex worker, offering his companionship to women who were willing to pay the price. And the price, my friends, was as unconventional as the entire situation. A whole orange rate slices. Forget about cash or credit cards, it was all about the oranges now. Naturally, the emergence of this new profession had some unintended consequences. Orange farmers quickly found themselves at the top of the food chain, the new elite class. They understood the power they held and were quick to seize the opportunity. So, what did they do? They formed a cartel and started charging astronomical rates for their oranges. One orange slice could set you back a whopping $100. And a whole orange? Well, that would cost you a hefty $800. It was an orange oligarchy. The farmers knew their market, and they understood that consumers could potentially grow their own oranges. To make sure they retained their grip on power, they decided to sell only seedless oranges. This created quite the societal dilemma. Straight women who weren't exactly rolling in cash found themselves denied access to, well, you know, romantic encounters. The working class women had had enough, and they decided to band together, forming an alliance that demanded an end to the farmers' price fixing. Joining their cause were lesbians, who realized that this orange obsession was unfairly depriving them of their beloved morning orange juice. It wasn't just about equality, it was about the right to a nutritious breakfast. So, these two groups, working class women and lesbians, joined forces to challenge the might of the orange farmers. But the farmer elite was not one to back down easily. Instead of heeding the cries for fairness, they decided to double down and raise their prices even higher. They pulled some strings and managed to get television stations and websites to spew propaganda, claiming that oranges were a luxury, not a necessity, and that the poor and middle class didn't deserve them. Televangelists jumped on the bandwagon, declaring that oranges were a divine gift only meant for the anointed few, code for the rich folks who had their anointment handed to them on a silver platter. All of a sudden, oranges had become the epicenter of political discourse. When the election season rolled around, Republican candidate Tina Fey emerged as the first female president of the United States. Her campaign strategy was cunning. She targeted mostly white women who were now reveling in their newfound status at the top of the social hierarchy. With the feminist mantra, women should be able to do what they want, she struck a chord with her supporters. But what was her real intention? That women should be able to control capital and labor as they saw fit. Tina Fey, however, was not exactly the champion of the working class. She gladly accepted money from the powerful orange farmers and failed to take any significant steps to reform the outrageously overpriced orange market. The revolution was brewing, and it was just waiting for the right leader to emerge. Enter Lahaina Jackson, a strikingly beautiful black woman with a unique background. She had previously been involved in a street gang that was all about policing in a world without men. Lehana was no stranger to tough situations, and she had a knack for devising ingenious plans. Lehana's strategy was simple: if the farmers wouldn't play fair, neither would the consumers. She executed her tactics with precision. The farmers, not being the sharpest tools in the shed when it came to dealing with the elite class, were ill-prepared for the measures Lehana put into action. She planted workers within their companies, and these undercover agents skillfully stole oranges without leaving a trace. By the time the farming elite realized what was happening, it was too late. Lehana had outwitted them and had successfully converted hundreds of farm workers across the country to her cause. It reached a point where the farming elite had to come to terms with their impending loss of control. They decided to normalize their prices, allowing oranges to be affordable once more. The power dynamic had shifted, and the elite had lost their grip on society. President Tina Fey's approval ratings nosedived, and a new political party, one that championed the working class and was ready to expose the corruption and collusion, emerged to challenge her rule. Lehana, the heroine of our story, presented an orange to the orange-loving hero who had played a crucial role in the revolution. But he had a surprise for her. He urged Lehana to keep the orange and, in a moment of shared intimacy, they kissed and made love. Afterward, he sat at the edge of the bed and told her, "You did well, my love." Then, he revealed the shocking truth. His plan all along had been to realign the elite powers in the United States. He had orchestrated events to pave the way for a less experienced and less sophisticated elite, one that would be more amenable to a revolution led by the woman he had secretly been engaged to all along, Lehana. With this revelation, the story reached its unexpected conclusion, leaving a legacy of change, equality, and newfound hope for the future. The power dynamics had shifted, and the orange-loving hero had orchestrated a revolution that changed the course of history. The end.